A good approach to a fight is to think about that a little bit. Find, 3, 4, 5 techniques that you do a lot, and they kind of work well together, and build a doctrine or like a plan for a fight around using those techniques together in ways that complement each other and that compensate for potential responses. So, I don't mean to suggest that this particular doctrine is universal, the one we're about to show. I also don't suggest that you get particularly attached to one doctrine. It might be a good way to approach a fight, but if someone is consistently breaking it, you will need to try something else. But at the same time, just having a plan before you go into a fight can be a better way to already have some of the thinking done beforehand and not have to do it under pressure. So with that said, Carlos and I are going to show one possible doctrine you could use, which is basically consists of thrust, a diagonal downward cut, and Bataireacht, with permutations between those. So, put my mask on here. To begin with, if Carlos and I are facing each other in long point, as tends to happen in tournaments, before I make contact with his blade, one of the things I could do is I could just extend and threaten a thrust. Now, probably he's going to do something about this. Assuming he didn't, which is not a context I'm really worried about too much, I would probably take a step in and try to stab him. He's going to do something though, probably. And what he's usually going to do is try to displace my tip, like so. This opens up his left arm. I can go in for a cut. That's the most simple variation of this. And that's a very good way to get, at least 1 or 2 points in a match. But eventually your opponent will start to catch on. That's where we add in some other parts of our doctrine. So let's try this again. I go for that displacement. I go for that threat. Carlos displaces. I go around. I see he's moving to parry. I can dip my sword underneath, and I can thrust to the chest. Final variation that we're going to do right now. I do that threat again. He displaces. I go to cut around. He goes to block. I change to underneath. He displaces my sword again. I come around, spare out of the head, and escape. Now, that's the variation we're going to work on right now. I'll just get everyone to find a partner and practice these four different steps, with the obvious caveat that these are just a logical flow of techniques. They're not necessarily a catch-all script for getting through a fight, and also just to head off any other comments that you probably won't go into this not knowing which one of those you're going to do. You want to sound your opponent out beforehand to make sure that you know, or at least that you have an idea of which one of these is most likely to succeed.